Yeah, it's always great to be in Hobart. I mean, we're really committed to this part of the world, and we've had great support here last year, and we hope to build on what we did here last year and hopefully play more games here in the future. But it's really important that we build this into a fortress, and this is our home away from home, and the game will most likely be a sellout tomorrow. So if you haven't got your tickets, make sure you get them. But we've got to make sure it's not just this game tomorrow, but our next game against Port Adelaide's a huge game for us as well. And we hope to play more games here, but we've got to sell the venue out every time before we get more games.
How much does it help when you see the crowd here and it's sort of one-sided, I suppose?
Well, it's huge. I mean, every time we go to Sydney, we get a pretty hard time. So now we've got to make sure the North Melbourne fans return the favour and we make it a really hostile environment for the Swans. They want to come down and train down here and familiarise themselves with the ground. But one thing they can't get used to is the hostile North Melbourne crowd that's going to be here tomorrow. And we're building a great presence in Hobart. The people of Hobart are right behind us, and we certainly feel that.
Is it disappointing that the Swans have closed their session this afternoon?
I think it's disappointing for the fans. I don't know what they're going to hide from the fans, or we're certainly not going to worry ourselves too much with what they're doing. They've put some pretty good evidence together as to what they're capable of over the last couple of years. So. They're a very well-drilled side and well-prepared, but it'd be nice for the fans to see both AFL teams. But we'll certainly open up our sessions, and we're asking the people of Hobart to embrace us, and the least we can do is embrace them.
You're 0-2 and you come down here against the reigning premiers. It's obviously a perfect scenario for North Melbourne to come down here and get a win, basically at home at a fortress. Yeah,
it is, and we've got to turn this into a fortress. I mean, the start of the year we played some pretty good footy, but the reality is we are where we are, and we're focused on just playing the type of footy that we think is going to win games under real pressure, and we're going to get that pressurised environment tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. Sydney aren't going to hand anything to us on a platter, so we're going to have to come out and take it tomorrow. So we're looking forward to the challenge, and again, the Hobart crowd behind us will be a huge boost.
Is it important to make a statement against one of the big teams after the last couple of weeks with the win?
Yeah, well, I mean, the win's the end result. I mean, we did a lot of things right to get the result in the last 2 weeks, but we played very good opposition. We let them back into the game. Both occasions, really, we let very good sides play their way for a period of time, and it cost us. But for large portions of the game, we got the game played the way we want it, and we've got to make sure that we persist for a bit longer than we have the last 2 weeks tomorrow. And if we do that, I'm sure we'll get the result.
Is that something you can work on training-wise, or is it more of just a mental thing that when you get on top of a team, you don't let them back in?
No, look, I think you've got to give credit to the opposition. I mean, it's not fair just to say that we took our foot off the gas. I mean, Geelong certainly last week really stepped up their intensity, and we struggled to get our hands on the ball, but we really feel that there were a lot of areas that we let ourselves down with that are very simple parts of the game that we're really confident we can fix quickly. We had a dramatic improvement from round 1 to round 2, and if we have that same level of improvement again, I think it's going to be a good game for us tomorrow.
So much has been said about their supposed soft start to the year. I guess, is there ever a good time to get Sydney, and if so, would it be tomorrow?
Oh well, no. I think that's you can read into that what you want. I mean, I disagree. I don't think there's such thing as a soft start anymore. I think the Gold Coast and GWS are going to give a lot of sides a lot of grief this year. I think they're going to win their fair share of games. They've both got very talented lists. So I think to talk about a soft start's a bit disrespectful to those two teams, and they've had their couple of years in the competition now. The expansion teams are going to be just called GWS and the Gold Coast now. We're not going to refer to them as that because they're going to be legitimate teams in their own right. So, Sydney's form is 2 wins, no losses. So they're going to be a tough team to beat, and they haven't lost the game of footy for a long time.
Taylor Hine makes his debut for the club. He's obviously one that, through the draft, picked North Melbourne. He's worked hard and he's put his name forward pretty early on.
Yeah, he has, and he deserves his opportunity. Coming off a shoulder reconstruction at the end of last year, he worked really hard to get that right. But we're very impressed with his competitiveness. He's a really tough individual who fights for everything he gets, and we're really pleased to get him into our side because that's something that we admire and something that we value really highly. So he's going to come in and acquit himself really well. I've got no doubt about that.
Do you feel sorry for James Hird at the moment, what he's going through?
Look, I feel for everyone in Essendon's situation, but to be perfectly honest, I've got not a minute to think about everyone else. I'm thinking everything about North Melbourne and what we need to do. I mean, we're just, as soon as you start to take your eye off what's important with your own club, start worrying about other clubs, then you get into trouble. So, I'll leave that to everyone else to comment about.
Reece Shaw is pulled out, abdominal strain. Does that perhaps give a little advantage, perhaps maybe trying to get on top of them and stifle that run out of defence?
Oh, look, Reece Shaw's a very good player, so I'm sure they'd prefer to have him in their side than out. But more falls to Nick Malcheski and Marty Matner, and they've got a lot of players back there who can run the ball out of defence. I think they've been trying to get Armstrong into their side for a while. So, you look at Mitch Morton's an emergency, and what a great grand final he had last year. So they've got some players that can cover the one player that they've got out. So I don't think it helps us a great deal.
You haven't beaten Sydney since 2007. Has there been? It feels like they've got the wool on you, or is there certain things in games that just haven't matched up well, and you can put anything down to that?
No. They're just a very good side. Records like that are for the past. I mean, this current coaching group's only been together since 2010. So what happened the previous 3 years has got nothing to do with us. But the last four, they have beaten us convincingly twice at the SCG. Now we dropped a game by a point at Etihad. We felt we should have won. So, look, I mean, that record is that record because Sydney have been a very good side over 4 years. I don't think it's a reflection on how both teams match up against each other. And in fact, we feel pretty confident, that our style of footy holds up pretty well against them.
We've obviously spoken about being 0-2 and they have been hard losses, but some positives that come out of the way you've been playing?
Yeah, I think that Collingwood and Geelong will be thereabouts in September, based on what I've seen so far. And we want to be a side that can really push those sides and beat those sides. And I think that for periods of games we've shown that we can absolutely do that. So there's a lot to like, but if you want to be a top four side, you can't have lapses and you can't drop off. And we have. So that clearly shows we've got a bit of work to do.
Are Sydney the sort of team where you can go to a specific player and try and shut him down, or have they just got too many options in the midfield that to focus on one just frees up another?
Oh no, I think there are a couple of players who are real keys to them. So we'll certainly have some key focus areas in their midfield. But you're right, their strength is their depth. And I think they got on top of the Gold Coast late in the game last week just because of their great depth through there and the variety of players they can put through there. So, we think that's an area we're pretty good in too. So it'll be a good midfield battle tomorrow, no doubt.
Your depth has obviously helped with someone like Sam Wright coming back into the side after his knee injury last week. Yeah. I mean, Righty we think is going to be a really important part of our our present and our future. He's forced his way back into the best side after a minor knee injury. So that's pushed Ben Jacobs, and Kieran Harper out of the side. So that they're two players, Jacobs and Harper, that we think should be in our best 22, but can't force their way in at the moment. So that's a sign of the building depth that we're starting to develop.
And on the Swans midfield, is it more a McVeigh or a Jack that you go to now, as opposed to in the past O'Keefe or a Bolton?
No, I think you leave out Jeddah, leave out Hanbury. So I think your point's valid. They've got so many of them that if you think you're going to shut one down, that's going to shut their entire midfield down. I think you're kidding yourself. So we've got plans in place for their entire midfield, and as per usual, it's going to be the execution of those plans that are more important than the plan itself.